Hello friends, welcome. I am Professor Patil PR, Professor of Agronomy. I welcome you all to this new course of Principles of Organic Farming. If you go into the market, there are two types of foods available these days. One is the normal food, conventional food, which is generally prepared by using so many chemicals. Okay, you go and purchase any vegetables or any fruits, so many chemicals are used to produce those. You know it already. And there is one more type of food available in the market today is considered as organic food, which is produced by using minimum chemicals. So why these two types of foods are available in the market? You might have also seen that nowadays in Maharashtra there is a new trend that people are opening the tea shops with jaggery, means they are producing or selling tea of which is prepared by jaggery. Why they are preparing the tea by using jaggery? Why not sugar? Sugar is available quite cheap, but there is a trend and consumer want jaggery tea. So consumer plays a important role and which will decide the direction will produce the food. These days there is a growing demand for organic food. So how to produce organic food? What actually is organic food? This is how the course deals about, and whether this is what are the pros and cons of organic farming and all that we will discuss in this course. So this is a very interesting course. I hope that you will enjoy this course. Let us begin with organic farming. So actually you can see in this on the screen that the course number is Agro 248 and credit is 1+1 course. What you can see in the picture, I have purposefully kept a picture here which says that a crop or a plant grows in the soil and you care about both of them. You are lifting it means you care about them. You care about the soil, you care about the plants. So this is a production system which takes care of the soil and plant. Instead of blindly doing operations, we purposefully manage them in order to sustain their life for so many years. So that is a general idea that I wanted to give through that picture. So about the concept of organic farming, what is the need today? What are the principles or values of organic farming? What are the benefits of doing organic farming? Causes why people are not adopting organic farming, and what is the future scope? First thing is, what is the concept of organic farming? In brief, in the introduction I told you that organic farming is a type of farming where minimum chemicals are used or no chemicals are used, and farming is dependent completely on organic materials. So for any kind of operation, maybe fertilizer application, if plant needs nutrient, you are not applying the chemical fertilizers, you are applying the organic manures. If a plant needs pest and disease control, instead of applying the chemical pesticides, you are applying biopesticides. So that is a general concept, but there are so many things or a few important things you should know. The concept of organic farming is, first of all, you have to recognize the soil as biological living entity. Whether the soil is a living body or a dead body, that is a question. What do you think? The soil is living body or a dead body? Many people will say, sir, soil is a dead body, but actually soil is a living body because it contains thousands or we can say crores of microorganisms, and they play a very important role in the growth of plants. So first thing that you have to keep in mind while doing agriculture or farming is consider soil as a biological living entity. Any operation that you do in your farm, it is going to affect those microorganisms, and which is the capital of your agriculture. Soil is the most important thing which is going to decide the production. Organic inputs. Use second concept of organic farming, or second point that tells you about the organic farming is Use of organic inputs to meet the nutrient demand. What organic means? Here actually the word organic dictionarily, previously in chemistry you might have come across the word organic and inorganic. So that organic inorganic is different. That is, if the carbon compound is there, you call it as organic uh, compound. If absence of carbon and hydrogen, you call it as inorganic. That is a different thing. That we are not discussing here. Here the organic input means those which are produced from the living things. Okay, organic means produced from living things. Now, what are the living things? Maybe plant part is a living thing. Maybe any animal is a living thing. Animal waste is a living thing. So, produced from living things, that is organic inputs, and not manufactured in the industry or chemicals. Okay. So, living things, natural things. So, use of organic inputs to meet the nutrient demand. What are the organic inputs? There are so many like FYM, compost, vermicompost. There are so many that we will discuss one by one in future. Use of non-chemical methods for pest control. So, now third part of the concept of organic farming is, we can say, non-chemical methods of pest control, and there are so many traditional mechanical methods, cultural methods, biological methods you can use for pest control. Pest includes weeds, pest includes diseases, pest also includes the insect pests. So, go for as much as possible, go for integrated weed management, pest management, disease management, use of mechanical, cultural and biological methods of avoid use of the chemical pesticides. So, it is a form of sustainable agriculture. Whatever operations that you do in agriculture, they have a long term impact, and they have an impact on the future production. So, if you follow these methods, if you consider the soil as a living body, and that is how you are managing the soil, you are applying the organic inputs to the soil, to the crop, then ultimately those organic inputs are going to improve the quality of soil. Use of non-chemical methods of pest control, that is going to keep the environment in your farm as well as the country's environment, the state's environment, the global environment quite healthy for living things, for the plants and animals. And so, we can say it is a form of a sustainable agriculture. This kind of agriculture is going to survive for so many years, because we are maintaining the health of the system. So, that is the broad concept of the organic farming. If you want to define it in few lines, we can say definition is a production system. It is also a production system. It is a method of farming which largely excludes or completely avoids the use of agrochemicals. What it avoids? It avoids the use of agrochemicals, and it depends on organic or non-chemical methods of nutrient pest management. It depends on organic methods or non-chemical methods of nutrient and pest management, that is organic farming. So, it is a production system which avoids, largely excludes. There are some exceptions. Why it is called as largely excludes? Largely exclude means most of the chemicals are avoided, few chemicals are allowed in organic farming. For example, sulfur, elemental sulfur or some minerals are allowed in organic farming. What are the detailed list that we will discuss in a separate topic, and depends on the organic and non-chemical methods. What is the need today? Why people are talking so much about organic farming today? First thing is entry of pesticides and toxicants in the food chain. Whatever food we are eating today, which is produced by using so many chemicals, the residues of those chemicals are there in the food. It may be cereal, it may be pulse, it may be dal, it may be oil, it may be vegetable. Whatever you are eating today, they contain pesticidal residue, and that is slowly acting as a poison to our body. And there are so many symptoms that our health is deteriorating. Simply if I say that our grandparents are much more healthier and stronger than our generation. Why is that? Maybe their quality of the food is one reason. In this picture you can see that the girl is born with a defect in her leg. And this is a picture from Kerala where people sprayed pesticide on cashew nut plantation. This is a popular story in Kasaragod, and that residue of that pesticide remained in the food chain, and so many newly born kids, they born with defects. You can see here this one more picture. Unfortunately, uh, this is related with the spraying of pesticide, and they struggle to live the normal lives. So it means that people have now realized that our food contains so much of toxins. One more picture here you can see that in Punjab and Haryana, where people grow wheat and rice, they use so much amount of urea or fertilizers, and that urea leaches down into the groundwater, and groundwater or well water are now polluted with nitrate, and nitrate levels about 10 milligram per liter of water, that is 10 ppm, is very harmful and considered as very dangerous for human health. It may cause people to go into a coma or cancer. There are so many cancer patients in Punjab. You might have heard about the cancer train going from the Punjab to Delhi. In Satyamev Jayate episode, if you have seen that. And this nitrate it causes in newly born babies called as blue baby syndrome, methemoglobinemia. You can see their face and eyes are blue. So very dangerous kind of diseases are occurring to human beings. And there are so many other diseases like early maturity. People now, children are maturing very early, puberty is coming so early, white hairs are coming early. These are all the reasons we can say change in our lifestyle or the kind of food we are eating. The second important need for organic farming is because the basic soil degradation is happening because of modern methods of agriculture. Erosion, cultivation on the slopy lands is causing the erosion of the soil, means loss of soil along with the water. If you cultivate the slopy lands, the topsoil becomes loose and it washes away with the rainfall. Physical degradation of soil includes compaction because of repeated tillage operation on the surface of the soil and heavy machinery like tractor and all causing compaction. Laterization is actually a process in which the heavy rainfall leaches down the basic cations and soil become lateritic, especially in Konkan area in Maharashtra where heavy rainfall is there, lateritic soil development has happened. Hard setting, repeated plowing at same depth causes hard pan at below that depth. Then we can say loss of biodiversity. People are using more and more of chemical fertilizers. Organic manures production has decreased. People are selling the animals and adopting tractor drawn implements and tools, and we can say that's why the living entity in the soil is not getting sufficient food, and mainly the chemical degradation, depletion of organic matter and nutrients, contamination of the groundwater, and industrial activities. Because of industrial and mining activities, pollution of the rivers is also happening. More and more of chemicals we are applying the soil, which is affecting the quality of the soil. You can see one more picture here. On the left hand side we have a soil with organic management where the crop residues were retained, no tillage was practiced for many years. You can see the texture of that soil, and some microorganisms or earthworm is also visible, and quite a kind of a loose soil is there. Whereas in the modern cultivation you can see the hard type of soil on the right hand side with a regular tillage operation without retention of residue. So which soil is good for the growth of crops? Of course the left one is good for the growth of crops. Water pollution is happening it's a well known fact that water pollution with pesticide and fertilizer residues is happening. So, drinking quality of the water, fish for the living bodies inside the water is harmful. You can see some of the fishes are dying because of pollution in the water. Most importantly, again, the stagnation of the yields. Now, yields are also stagnating, they are not increasing with increasing dose of the chemicals, fertilizers. This is a picture which shows that there is a decreasing trend with response to NPK fertilizer. So, earlier when we used it in 1960 to 70, huge response was there, means a small amount of fertilizer gave great results, but now we are increasing the fertilizer dose, but the response is very less. Fertilizer consumption during 1967-68 to 2011-12 increased 24 times, whereas the food grain production increased only 3.5 times. It means that the yields are not increasing with the quantity of fertilizer. And the imports of the pulses are increasing. People convince us that the green revolution happened and production of the all food grain commodities has increased. There are no doubt, definitely that has happened, but it is concentrated to two main crops, that is wheat and rice. Green revolution has concentrated in two main crops, that is this rice and wheat, whereas the pulses are neglected and their production has not improved as much as the cereal crops, and that is why we need to import them from the outside. This modern agriculture demands for huge investment, means cost of cultivation is increasing, cost for pesticide, cost for seed, cost for fertilizer, cost for livestock feed, etc. is increasing day by day. That is a cause of concern. The development of nutrient imbalances or deficiencies is happening. This is a chart which shows that every 10 years how the soil is becoming deficient in variety of nutrients. Earlier it was deficient only in nitrogen. Actually, in most of the important nutrients, soil is becoming deficient. And development of resistance against the pest and diseases. The pest and diseases are developing resistance against the pesticides. So, they are no longer, means there are so many pests which are developing resistance, and then even after spending so much of cost on pesticide, if the pest and disease are not controlled, then it creates a question mark why we are spending so much cost. Depletion of natural resources is happening, the quality of the resources is decreasing. So, that is the need why we should think about alternative approach. What are the principles of organic farming or the values of organic farming? Organic farming believes in four values. One is health, maintain the health of the system. And what is system? System is soil, plant, environment, water. All these factors we have to maintain the quality of these factors, that is the health. Principle of ecology, okay, means ecology is, what is ecology? The environment surrounding the crop is its ecology. So, management should be done by studying the ecological situations, where you are on the earth, what are the natural resources available in your area. Your management should focus on the, based on that ecological conditions and environmental facilities available in your area, and you should not pollute them. Principle of fairness, be equal to all stakeholders, okay. Don't produce bad quality food and sell to consumer so that their health get affected. So, that should not happen. So, consumer, producer, the animals should be treated fairly, okay. There should be a fairness, and then only we can say that we have a quality system. And finally, we should care whatever operations that you do in your farm should be made carefully. Carefully you have to do the decision. You have to first of all study what will be the long term impact of my farming practice, that is the care. So, take care while doing anything in your farm. In short, we can say, in other words, principles can be listed at maximum but sustainable use of local resources. Use as much as possible local resources, but make sure that their use should be sustainable, means their recharging or the use should be less than the recharging speed. The minimum use of purchase inputs, don't purchase the inputs from the companies or market, as much as minimum produce your own inputs in your farm, okay, so that you are not dependent on any multinational company, because if they increase the prices, then you have to pay those prices. Ensure basic biological functions of soil, water, nutrient, humus and continuum. There is a basic system in the farm, that is soil is in contact with water, water carries the nutrients, nutrients go to the plants, plants absorb nutrient, they grow, they die, they produce humus. So, this is a continuous process happening in the farm. So, this basic functions should go on properly. Maintain diversity of the plant and animal species, okay, and that diversity will maintain the ecological balance. Create attractive overall landscape which gives satisfaction to the locals. Organic farming, this is an important principle, that your farm should be diversified, it should look beautiful, so that the local people should like to come in your farm, and that should give satisfaction to yourself as well as the locals. Increase the crop and animal diversity in the form of integrated system. If you have an integrated system, that will be a sustainable system, the risk will be reduced, diversity of the enterprises like crop and animals. That is an important principle of organic farming, because you see, organic farming believes in system approach. It is a system approach. Don't focus only on crop, focus on what the crop needs. Maybe it needs nutrients from the organic manure. So, where the organic manures will come from? They will come from the animal sources. So, you should also have animal in your farm to produce high quality food in sufficient quantities. Principle of organic farming. We should be dedicated to produce a quality food, and which is residue free, to minimize all forms of pollution is the principle of organic farming. Minimum pollution should be created by our practices. Now, what are the benefits of organic farming? First one is it provides healthy and nutritious food. Healthy means without residues, and nutritious food. Some of you can see this picture which indicates that organic is 25% more nutritious in terms of vitamins and minerals. There are more vitamins and minerals in the organic food, and so that is the quality of food we are producing. Increasing the demand and prospectus of export is another benefit. There is a growing demand about organic food. People want a good quality food. Demand in the developed countries like Europe and America is increasing at the rate of 12 to 17% per year. Availability is increasing only 3 to 8%. So, it means that farmers will get a good price if they supply this self-sustaining system. So, because we are producing more and more inputs in our own farm, so it is a self-sustaining production system. There is a conservation and improvement of natural resources which will help us to produce in future also, and use of organic manures will provide balanced source of nutrients. If you analyze organic nutrient sources like compost, they contain all type of nutrients, not just NPK. They contain all essential nutrients, we can say NPK, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, ferrous, iron, manganese, magnesium, zinc. They contain everything, so that is a balanced nutrients. Sustainable production system. I told you that this type of system of the production will be very healthy for long term, and our quality of soil will be maintained, quality of water will be maintained. So, we can ensure the production for so many years, not for short term. But still, why most people are not adopting organic farming? That question should also come in your mind. So, causes of low adoption are: number one, the chemicals are easy to use and they are less costly. It is very easy to spray the chemicals, but you do not need to prepare the chemical yourself. You have to go into the market, purchase and spray. And comparatively, the cost of the chemicals is low. If you purchase the organic chemicals as compared to the chemicals, organic fertilizers, for example, are much more costlier. If you want to purchase the FYM from outside, that is more costlier. But application of urea, if you in terms of per kg nutrient, they are cheap. Per kg urea supply lot of nutrient per kg. If you consider, it contains 46% of nitrogen, but to supply 46% of nitrogen through FYM, we need thousands of kg of FYM. In that terms, if you purchase organic fertilizers or organic manure is costly. The benefit of organic practices are not seen immediately. Okay, the chemicals show immediate response, but organic inputs, they show slow response. Large quantity inputs are required. I just mentioned that FYM contains very small quantity of nutrients. So if you want to apply so much nutrients, say 100 kg nitrogen or 50 kg nitrogen, you need tons of the FYM, maybe 10 tons, or in case of sugarcane, maybe 20 tons. So that is the large quantity of the organic inputs are required. Then control of pest diseases and weeds is difficult in organic farming because they are slow performing, and if the pest and diseases is not controlled, then your whole crop can be damaged. So this is a very important weakness still in organic farming. However, there are so many options that we will see in future. Still the market is unorganized market for organic food. There is no separate market, and consumer still in Indian consumer is we can say, although awareness is increasing, but it is increasing, there are so number of consumers who can purchase the quality food, their number is still low, because the overall income of the Indian people is considered as the average or below average. And economic loss due to transition means, if you are turning from the chemical agriculture to organic agriculture suddenly, then there will be reduction in yield of your crop, and there will be economic loss during the transition period. Transition period is considered to be the period in which the from inorganic to organic you are converting. Generally 3 to 4 years are required for that purpose. So finally, the last concept, that is there any scope for organic farming in India and world? So scope is indicated by demand. There is a growing demand for organic food, especially in developed countries. Compound growth rate per year, export quantity of organic products of India at 50.5%. So export quantity, how much quantity we are exporting, increasing by 51% per year, and export value is increasing by 11.75% from 2003 to 2040. Can you imagine? Compound growth rate means annually 50% production export has increased every year, and every year 11% increase in profits for the farmers. In 2017, the area under certified organic farming in India is 11.8 lakh hectares, may increase to 20 lakh hectares in 2020. So area under certified organic farming is increasing in India. What is certified organic? There are two types of organic farming. Again, people who are doing organic farming and selling in the local markets, and those who are doing organic farming, getting their organic farming certified from the authorities or the agencies available, and then exporting, that is a different thing. So certified area is increasing in India. Then total volume of export, if you see, in 2017-18 was 4.58 lakh million tons, metric tons, sorry. So that is the volume of export. Organic food export realization means how much money we earn from the export of organic food alone is 3,453.48 crores of rupees by exporting only organic food, which is a good amount for Indian government. Then largest certified organic wild harvest. India has the largest certified organic wild harvest. Now, what is wild harvest? Especially in the states like Assam, where Assam is considered declared as completely organic state, where there are so many mountains, and most of the food they. In South India, there are so many forests, and they are harvesting the spices and condiments as wild harvests. Very less management is done, and naturally the plants grow and trees grow and they give say spices, condiments to the people, and that is a considered as a wild harvest. And growth of 25 to 30% per year in this sector is found in last 10 years, which is considered as very good growth. So that is the scope of organic farming. Continuously every year 25% growth is not bad, it's very good. Traditionally India is considered as organic country. We adopted the chemicals very late as compared to developed nations. We adopted in 1960-65, which is just 65-70 years before. So we can say we are traditionally for so many years we were an organic country. So world is looking at India as a source of organic food. Increasing awareness about toxic food is increasing day by day. So that is a good scope for organic farming. In terms of export value, if you think the oil seeds have given maximum value to the farmers, 47%, followed by cereal and millets are exported as organic food. Plantation crops like tea and coffee 9% of revenue. Dry fruits has generated 8.8% of revenue. Spices and condiments contribute 7.7%. Overall, we can say there is a good scope for organic farming in terms of the export value, in terms of urban markets. If you can sell your produce in the urban markets, there are so many consumers earn good income through selling organic food. Only thing that you should able to marketing is difficult, but once you have the channel, if you got the channel, then there is a demand. Finally, you eat what you feed them. If you feed the plants organic material, then you will eat quality food. But if you feed the plant so much of chemicals, you have to consume those pesticides yourself. So that's how the organic farming works. I hope this introductory lecture helped you in understanding the concept of organic farming. For today, we will stop here. Thank you so much for your attention.